So I greet you everybody. This is a Prophet J Angel from Mufulira, Zambia. So I believe I've got just few things that I just need to voice out. I'm not going to say a lot, and I believe my message is directed to the government of Zambia. I want to speak about things that are affecting our nation. There is a lot that is happening in our nation. A lot has happened. And with due respect to His Excellency President Lungu. And speaking here, I want also to make it clear that voicing out does not simply mean I'm a politician. Voicing out does not mean I've been bought by the opposition. And I want also to make it clear because many other times when somebody want to voice out and they come out like this, more especially the men of God, many other times we've been attacked and people, they call us names to say stick to your calling, rather be a politician. And I want you to know that just voicing out does not simply mean one is being political or somebody is being a politician. I want to make this statement clear that being a man of God or being a prophet does not mean I'm not a citizen of Zambia. And being a prophet does not mean that I don't have a family who are Zambians. And being a prophet does not take away my human rights to voice out. And being a prophet does not mean that, or being a man of God does not mean that I have to die inside or within. When something hurts, I need to come out and spit it out. So we've got many men of God that are out there and they are failing to voice out. They are failing to speak. They are there acting as cowards. Why? Because they are afraid that every time they voice out, people will begin to attack them. Stick to your calling and don't talk about politics. But being a pastor, being a man of God, does not mean I'm not a Zambian citizen. I've got families whose faith is different from my faith, and they need somebody to speak for them. Like Moses was sent into Pharaoh to speak for the children of Israel. That did not mean he was a politician or he became a politician or he was bought by the opposition. He was speaking for the children of God. So there are many times when politicians want to win elections and they move around in churches and move from one church to another. We don't tell them that stick to politics and leave the church. Because being a politician does not make them, being a politician does not disqualify them from being Christians. We see most of the time, even on His Excellency on his page, he will quote scriptures and he will quote scriptures. And when he quotes scriptures, we don't attack him to say stick to politics, because being a president does not mean he cannot be a Christian or talk about Christianity. Just like being a pastor does not make me to not to voice out on things that are affecting our nation. So it is something that I want to make clear. And this should come to an end, because what the politicians they do is they come to churches, move from one church to another church when they want to win election. And when they win election, what they do is that they manipulate and they corrupt more especially the minds of the youths. And how do they corrupt the minds of the youth? They tell them that if you see a pastor speaking against politics, against a leader, attack that pastor and tell him stick to your calling. And that is how they attack pastors, and that is how they silence pastors, and pastors they fail to voice out. But understand, it was in the time of Saul, when a prophet like Samuel, he rose up and he told the king, and he said, God has left you. You have sinned against God. It was in the time of David when David, he killed somebody's husband and took the wife Bathsheba. And the Bible says, and Nathan went to him and told him, King, what you have done is wrong. So a time comes like that. So we are not going to continue to be slaves in our own country. Zambia belongs to Zambian. And Zambians should be first. Zambians should be prioritized. You cannot prioritize other people in Zambia and you exploit your own people. You need to understand your people comes first. Your people comes first. So Zambia for Zambians and Zambians first. It is something that should be clear. And as leaders, we expect you to speak for us. We expect you to represent us. But what has happened? The people that we elect to represent us, what have they done? The people that we elect to represent us, what are they doing? They're exploiting us. They are the people that are standing for others. Imagine it's more like having a parent. Then you've got a parent. The parent is standing for other people instead of standing for you. That is what Zambia has come to. But understand, it was a time when Mordecai looked at Esther and he said, Esther, it is for this reason why God appointed you and brought you in this place to defend the Jews. And he told Esther to say, if you don't stand up for the Jews, he said, help is going to come somewhere. I know the Bible is clear in the book of Proverbs. It says, the borrower is a slave to the lender. But we are not going to be reduced to this level. And what has happened to freedom of speech? What has happened to human rights? We expect people who are in high profile to know about these things. And we expect them to know, what does the Article 20 of Zambia state? What does Article 11 state when it comes to human rights? But why is it that people, they want to suppress us and they want to take away our human rights? We've got human rights in Zambia that are there to defend Zambians. And freedom of speech does not mean somebody is being paid by the opposition. It just means they're expressing what is in their heart. And as a Zambian, not as a man of God, as a Zambian, I stand up to speak for my family. I stand up to speak for the Zambian, and I refuse, and I will not be a coward. And time for change has come, and the clock is ticking very, very fast. And it is only left to us youths to stand up and rise and defend our country, defend what our forefathers, they fought for. And how are we going to do that? In the ancient days, it was the men of God who led people into battles. Don't forget that. We men of God, we have got the ability also. Not I'm saying that we can, but we have got the ability to preach also to people. We can give people also direction. People respect us. So, do not override our human rights. Do not override on our human rights. We need Zambia, and Zambia belongs to the Zambian. So, I love you all, and God bless you. But I'll stand for Zambia. I'll defend my people. Shalom.